Well, it's that time again. It's the Bucs in the Burgh podcast, live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A brother, a mentor, and a friend, Tarrik Brock there. Here's truly Mark Mancini in Los Angeles. Tarrik, first things first, thunderstorms and everything were going through Milwaukee, but thank God they got a roof.
Yeah, absolutely. We heard that it was going to be, a hot one, so we all know that it'll be open. Don't know what it's going to be like, later on today. But the good thing is that, we'll know we'll get to play. So that's the good thing there. As we're taking on a Milwaukee Brewers team that is playing lights out baseball. It seems like them and the Seattle Mariners, both, just have not, entered the loss column in a while. So we'll look to do everything we can to, make it a slugfest, tonight.
Let everybody know, the great sponsors that sponsor this show because it keeps on going, man. We keep on picking steam. It's like a train track.
Yes, absolutely. Today's show is brought to you by the sponsors, True Victory Apparel, which
Yeah.
I'm wearing right now, man. Thank you to Jason and to Mike Butler over there. 412 Sports Ministries, they're out in California right now doing some really special things. BRG Baseball Resource Group out in the Inland Empire, all up and down the 15 are doing some amazing things in their R&D strategies, man. Thank you guys, so much. Mini Cooper of Pittsburgh and BMW of Pittsburgh. Man, had a really good time with them after the game the other day, just visiting and just talking. We talked for like 45 minutes, after the game in the stands, which is just really good to there. And then also to my home gym, they'll be, starting up in just a hour or two out there, the Cardio Grind Fitness Experience. Man, just want to say thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you jumped on the Reds 2 games. That Saturday game was a barn burner, 2-1 back and forth, and the Reds got you yesterday, split the series. But when you got a team down 2 games, I guess the mindset was try to bring the broom out and get them, but at least try to take 3 out of 4.
Yeah, see what happens in the 4 game series is like you win the first 2 games, and normally you used to playing 3 games. So you go, okay,
Yeah.
that's it. So, but what you have to think is like a team like them that is in the hunt, they're going to up their energy and their focus and their effort. And so what do you have to do as a team that's won 2 games in a position that we're in? Like we have to up our energy and match what they're putting out. And we didn't do that, in all phases of the game, offense, defense, base. We did not do that. And so what happened is that you find yourself, in a game that we had like yesterday where we fell behind, we caught up, fell behind, caught up, and then, they pulled away. It's hard to keep coming back like that, on the team, especially with the type of pitching that they have in the bullpen. And so we weren't able to, just match that energy, the last 2 innings, and it ended up costing us the game.
Yeah, on that one play Saturday night, I couldn't believe Cruz throwing Cruz out, man. I thought he was safe, but man, oh man, you just never know in baseball with these great plays.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, you have 2 elite guys on the field. Like, you got 2 guys, that are quicker than a snake bite that are, running around the bases. You got one guy, that is electric arm. You got another guy that has an electric arm. And the one thing it was just good to see, them over the years to just see the calmness that they're playing with now. You can definitely see it in Ellie, and the reason why I can see that more in Ellie than I can in my guys, that I don't see Ellie all the time, but I just saw the speed and the pace and the energy that he played at, which I thought was really good. To see our young guy, make some really good plays out there was really cool. Coming in, making a sliding catch. It was a fun series, to see. It's disappointing because I wanted us to win the series and it was there for us to take. We just didn't seize the opportunity, and that's where we have to get better. We have to get better. So when we have opportunities, runners on base, we have to cash those runs in, not just one. We got to cash in multiple, and that's something that we had. We had bases loaded. We had a strikeout and a flyout, and that happened, multiple times. That can't continue to happen, especially when we're in the position to make a little run, you know, um, and pull up on the Cardinals, who are a little bit ahead of us in the
Yeah.
division. it's right there for us to get, and it just takes for us to get hot and pitch really well. That's starters and relievers. It takes for us to run the bases well without stealing the base. We have to get better at that and just continue to play solid defense.
Yeah, and now studying these teams, you're on the road now, Milwaukee and then Chicago before you come back home. Uh, is there any difference between these two teams? I know Milwaukee's really hot and Chicago's right there, but Milwaukee's starting to pick up steam. They've won like 7, 8, 9 in a row here. They just took the Mets out. What do you look for in these series where you're facing two teams that are battling it out for the top of the division?
Well, the interesting thing is I did watch the Sunday night game a little bit
Yeah,
last night of just seeing, what the Cubs look like. They still look like the team, that we saw. For me, the difference between the two teams is that the Cubs have, more batters that can put the ball in the seats, in my opinion. Doesn't
yeah,
mean that the guys tonight and the Brewers can't do it, but just the Cubs have guys can do it. You go Tucker, you go PCA,
yeah,
you go Dansby, you go Suzuki. You start just naming names off from there. And so what happens is when you get the Brewers, man, they just nickel and dime you to death, right? They bunt, they steal bases, they hit and run, they go first and third. Like they play a unique brand of baseball that is, fitting for them. And so that's the two difference. The other thing is it's like, facing, the guys we got now, they got a veteran starter and Quintana going tonight,
yeah.
followed by Peralta, followed by, Woodruff. And you're like, man, there's some starters, but uh, it's just, who gets hot, who's able to remain hot. And while you're hot, it's still maintaining your discipline while you hot. Cause that's what gets you out of like a win streak or whatever. It's that casual, stuff that you allow to happen that all of a sudden bleeds over. And it's, like, man, we had won 5 or 6 in a row. What happened? It's like the famous saying, casual people become casualties.
Yeah, and facing a guy like Peralta, which you know real well in the division, I think every time you face him, you try to figure out that weakness, try to pick up that weakness, study it on film and everything, I would imagine.
Right. So it comes down to the process of elimination. So a guy's got a good fastball that he sticks when has right and he keeps
Mm.
at the top of the zone. Right. So now how do I pitch off that tunnel? Then it becomes, the breaking ball, right? And then you got the changeup. So now you very early you try to see what is he landing? Is the fastball is he throwing it for strikes? Well, the fastball is not throwing for strikes. So then, that's something that you kind of eliminate. So now he
Yeah.
becomes a two pitch pitcher, right? And then of the two pitches, which one is easier to hit? So if you're the left-hander, like that breaking ball's coming into you, so it's now it's coming in. That's something I want to get in the air, pull side, right? That two-seamer, I mean, a changeup that's acting like a two-seamer that's coming against the righty is soft too. I'm going to get that in the air, until he's able to find the fastball. That's just it for us. He'll probably try to see, okay, if they're chasing that fastball up, I'm going to throw that fastball up, but I'm also going to pop it in to keep them honest. And then I'm going to tunnel off of that with my breaking ball. Even if I don't throw it for a strike, I'm changing their eyesight and changing the speed of their eyes. And then therefore I can go back, to the fastball or throw the changeup at the same height and have it fade off. That's just basically what it boils down to. So it then becomes down to execution. It comes down to discipline.
Yeah. Hey, the National League is looking amazing. You got the Phillies, the Mets, Brewers, Cubs, Dodgers, Padres. When you look at baseball, and you've been around it a long time, decades, can you peak too soon, or when do you start getting to a level where, okay, now we can make a nice run in October? And, there's some teams you don't want to hope they peak too soon, but then there's other teams that are just kind of sneaking up. When is it? We talked about in the pre-chat with Washington years ago. May they were kind of buried, but they came on in August, and then in September and October they just rode that. Um, when does a team get like that, where they can kind of flow right in October, where they're not shooting all their bullets?
Well, I guess the most important thing it boils down to this for me, and I haven't been in the playoffs in the postseason here at the major league level, but what I've seen teams do is I've seen the good teams stay the course, right? They
Right.
they stay right here. They don't come off that level. And I see the other teams just start to fall off, and you see the separation. So then what happens is within that, they'll play, other good teams as well, right? And so now you go head to head, like the Dodgers and the Blue Jays play. So you get those two teams that go at it. The team that leaves that series with the victory carries a little bit more steam.
Yeah.
There's more coal, in that fire. And then that's what happens. It becomes big series wins against potential playoff teams or potential playoff opponents. And once you win those games, so now you have what we call an edge, or people go, they have the psychological edge, right? And so you go from there. And so what happens is the team that wins, makes subtle adjustments where the team that loses, might have to change things a little bit more. So now when you get back to when you play them again, now you have to see if that game plan is working, or do you need to go back to the other, plan that you had before, just because maybe you didn't execute as well.
Right.
Right. So then that's what that comes down to. And it's all of a sudden you get teams that just continue to just move on because they're playing inspired baseball. Why? They see that we have a chance of getting the number one seed. So now they're playing a little bit, different, with a little more edge and energy and focus. And then that makes a team dangerous. And then some teams just are able to just carry it. Why? Because they have good leadership in the clubhouse, in the players' locker room, amongst themselves, right? And they're pushing each other. And then you got some guys, that could be playing for other things too. Like I told you before, legacy.
Yeah.
Like they're playing to pass somebody up, but they're still doing it within the team structure. Some guys playing, because the contract is up and they're doing it. Some guys are playing to establish themselves at the major league level. And there's some guys that are here. They're just saying, you know what, I'm here, but I'm really want to put my stamp on being here. And all of a sudden, that's when you look up and they get rewarded with a 3-year deal. And you go like, man, just a couple of years ago, he was a bounce around guy. Now he's found a home here. And so some guys are playing for home.
It takes a long time to get up the mountain. You don't want to roll off overnight. Um, Old dudes rule. Scherzer and Kershaw the other day, something out of an OK Corral. They went. It was pretty impressive. Kershaw got the best of it, but man, sure that grizzled veteran keeps on trucking too.
Yeah, so in that one right there, I would think that, both teams are looking like, man, we want to get 5 solid, amazing innings out of you. And if we can get, 1 or 2 more after that, that would be a blessing right there. So when you got 2 guys going like that, both guys, like the last thing that either guy wants to do is to make a mistake. So that focus is going to be razor sharp because they know like the difference between, keeping our team in this game or not, will hinge on my focus and my execution. Right. And so that's the real cool thing right there. And then offensively against those guys, all you trying to do is not chase, right? Because you don't want to put them in any advantage, right? You want to look for pitches in your spot that you handle, right? And then just battle. And then the one thing that you want to do as well is if you don't want to fall for the trap, if they're throwing first pitch strikes, you don't want to get into the part where you're trying to put those balls in play, because then also like you're making, early outs, which could extend the life of their game as well. So it just becomes a really interesting thing of how aggressive are you, especially on, within the zone. And then, are you driving up the pitch count to shorten up, those guys' days? And then for the pitchers, it's like, we're executing, we're trying to get strike one, we're forcing contact on pitches in areas that we like so that we can shorten up, the innings. Because the average pitch count in an inning, one inning is like 17 pitches. So, could you imagine all of a sudden Kershaw has a 9-pitch inning? So he's
Yeah.
working with a surplus going to the next one. Oh, Serger gets out in 8, so now he has a surplus there. And so that becomes a really, important thing there. And then also the last thing that no one takes into consideration is what's the weather like that day? Is it
Yeah.
scorching hot or guys sweating? Because, that could be, a reason why instead of going 7, they go 5 and 2/3 because it's just hot. Man, I thought I had it and I went out this 5th inning and The breaking ball just wasn't as sharp. It was rolling, and not snapping. The fastball was running. I couldn't control it more, and all of a sudden they're out. So all those things come into play, and that's what makes sports, really, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Hey, David Bednar took a thing out for the Pittsburgh Post Gazette, I guess, thanking the city of Pittsburgh and everything. I thought that was such a class act. You hear so much, but to put that in depth and show the love of his hometown had to be something.
He's such a class act. I mean, you hear words like that, but I think it's the coolest thing, man. I mean, you had a guy that did everything he could, multiple time Hard and Hustle
Yeah.
award, winner for our team. He was always out in the community doing it. He took everything that the city gave him, like when he wasn't pitching well, got booed, but still kept going and performed, gets sent down, goes down there, gets right, comes back up, and all of a sudden turn the season around. And now, he has a chance to pitch in the postseason. To thank, the fans, the good, the bad, the ugly. He's got family members there. I just think that was just an awesome thing, for him to do because he got to do, hardly what anyone gets to do, which is play in your hometown for your hometown, team, hometown city team. I think that is the coolest thing ever. And so I'm not surprised that that is something, that he did.
Yeah. Hey, calling the shot in Milwaukee. Oh, this should be a good one. I know who I'm going with.
Oh, so we got Kitana today. I'm going to go with Nick Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay with Nick Gonzalez. He's been swinging the bat really well. The last two at bats that he put on late in the bats. I mean, balls over 100 plus on the line. If he can get those up a little bit, especially in this ballpark here, I think we got a chance there.
He kind of reminds me of Phil Garner or Tim Foley. He's got all that grit. He doesn't mind
Yeah,
getting dirty, and yeah, I like O'Neill Cruz.
well, that's a good
I
one
like
too.
yeah. We got to keep Bernie Brewer on his slide up there.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. We definitely need to do everything we can to slow those guys down. And this is what we call it outfielders, dream series, right? You got guys that can run. So now you're reinforcing keeping your throws low. You're and, stressing deep angles so that you cut balls off because you want to keep those balls off the wall. Like all balls off the wall, is an extra five, to 8 steps which makes it easier for guys like this team to be able to score from first. All those things become important in the series because if we can keep those guys from scoring from first on long singles and doubles, that gives us an opportunity.
You know what? I was just thinking, if you guys walked on the field for batting practice with Roger Pittsburgh jerseys, that Milwaukee, that would be something. Hey, unbelievable, to say the least, with that thing. Let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. I can't wait to talk. It's going to be an early one in Chicago.
Yeah, I absolutely coming off an off day, especially because they're all day games there, which is going to be the kicker there.
Yeah, let me know.
Um,
I might have to get you before you get on the bus. I might have to move
yeah,
this up a little bit.
yeah. So that'll be good there. And I think most importantly, I think of the 7 games or the 6 games we have, I think at least 5 of them are day games. So, we'll take it as it is. But man, you can find me online on XTARRIKSR, all one word. On IG, you can find me TARRIKBROCK at the SR as well. On Facebook and on TikTok, it's just first and last name TARRIKBROCK. Man, so just wishing everybody a peaceful, safe, blessed, week, man, and enjoy your time and find something new to experience.
Yeah, Friday we'll get probably start a little earlier. Depending, let me know what time. We'll also talk about the Steelers. They look good against Jacksonville, and big injury in LA with the Chargers losing an offensive tackle.
Oh, you
So
know what? I think the Eagles potentially might have lost a guy on their line as well. I don't know if it
yeah,
was O line or D line. So, yeah, it's a part of sports. It's a part that we definitely don't like. But then also it's just part of why we love doing what we're doing. So prayers out to those that are sick, that are hurting, that are recovering. Especially with the weather and things that are going around as well.
God bless you, man. That's Tarrik Brock in Milwaukee. Here's truly Mark Mancini in Los Angeles. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you Friday. It could be an early one before they get on the bus for the day game in Chicago versus the Cubs. Till then, have a blessed one, guys. And thanks again for listening.